Please subscribe and like. 3. The scent of lurking shadows. Ever since that day, Jung Suk felt her chest tighten whenever she heard the name Seo Young. The very moment her son Min Ho came home from work and said, "I'm having dinner with Seo Young tonight," her head filled with ominous imaginings. What is she really up to? That phone call at the supermarket. I'm sure it was a man's voice. And yet she claimed it was a hospital colleague? She might have lied. Jung Suk trusted her sharp, housewife intuition. On the surface, the more neat and graceful a young woman looked, the more likely she was hiding a secret. A few days later, Jung Suk began to act in secret. While Min Ho was out jogging, she slipped into his room and checked his phone. It was locked, but to a mother who remembered her son's habit of using his birthday as a password, it was no obstacle. Scrolling through the messages, her eyes froze on a single line. Amid countless exchanges with Seo Young. "Seo Young, Min Ho, did you tell your mom about us?" It was just one short sentence, but it shook Jung Suk to her core. About us? What exactly are they hiding? That evening, Seo Young came over for dinner. Jung Suk smiled and offered her side dishes. But inwardly she watched every move, every expression with suspicion. "Seo Young, you must have a lot of friends, right?" Oh, well, just average. I don't see them often, since I'm so busy." "I see. But Min Ho mentioned you often have plans on weekends. Those aren't with family?" For the briefest moment, Seo Young's face stiffened. Then, she quickly forced a smile and shook her head. "Oh, just colleagues. We meet up sometimes. Nothing serious." But Jung Suk didn't miss it. The girl was hiding something. She was sure of it. After dinner, once Seo Young left, Jung Suk deliberately called her son aside. "Min Ho, I'm not saying this for no reason, but Seo Young, she doesn't have some secret she's keeping from me, does she?" Min Ho frowned. "Mom, not this again. Why do you always suspect her first? Seo Young isn't that kind of person." "Not that kind of person? You barely know her. How can you be so sure, when it hasn't even been that long?" "Mom," Min Ho raised his voice. "I'm almost 30. I can choose my own woman. Please, stop interfering." Jung Suk was speechless. Never before had her son looked at her with such eyes. Her heart felt as though it was collapsing, yet at the same time, a strange resolve rose within her. "Fine. If you won't see it, I'll uncover it myself. Seo Young, your true self." A few days later, Jung Suk went near Seo Young's hospital. From a distance, she watched as Seo Young, in her white coat, finished her shift and walked out. Then she saw at Seo Young meeting someone in secret. A strange man, in a suit, mid-30s perhaps. He spoke with her briefly, at the corner of an alleyway. To Jung Suk's eyes, the way their gazes met could only be that of a man and a woman. Her heart plummeted. I knew there was something. In that moment, Jung Suk stepped further onto a path of obsession. One she could never turn back from. End of chapter 3. Next chapter, Jung Suk's anxiety turns into obsession. As fragments of Seo Young's hidden past begin to surface. Please subscribe and like. 4. Beyond the closed door. Ever since secretly following Seo Young, the fire in Jung Suk's heart refused to die down. Her son was falling deeper for the girl, and even at home, his words were nothing but praise for Seo Young. "Mom, Seo Young is really amazing. Even when things are hard. She's always so bright, she always gives me strength." Each word from Min Ho felt like a blade to Jung Suk. "She gives you strength? Then what about me? Does that mean your mother is no longer needed?" It was a weekend night. Min Ho brought Seo Young over, and the two stayed late. Though Jung Suk remained in her room, the sound of their laughter and soft whispers in the living room pierced her ears. As the hours passed, the voices faded. Instead, an eerie silence filled the house, broken only by the faint rhythm of breaths and the creak of footsteps shifting above the floor. The silence of the night was only broken by the two moaning irregularly as they made love to each other. Jung Suk clutched the blanket tight, pressing her hands over her ears, but it was no use. "No, it can't be my son, with that woman." The next morning, Jung Suk deliberately stepped into the living room late. Min Ho's door was ajar, and she caught sight of Seo Young stepping out. Her hair was disheveled, she fumbled nervously with the buttons on her blouse. And she quickly avoided Jung Suk's gaze. "Good morning, Mrs. Park." Seo Young forced a smile. But Jung Suk did not answer. When she entered the room, the sight of crumpled sheets and a shirt strewn across the bed stabbed at her chest. Her hand trembled as she reached out, brushing the cold fabric. No, it can't be. Then why is it so obvious?" she muttered under her breath. That afternoon, Jung Suk dialed Seo Young's number. Seo Young, could we meet this evening? Just the two of us. Min Ho doesn't need to know. There was a long silence. Finally, Seo Young's trembling voice replied. Yes, of course. Where shall we meet? Jung Suk's lips curled into a thin smile. Good, now I'll drag out your true face myself. End of chapter 4. Next chapter, Jung Suk and Seo Young face each other alone. The sparks of conflict begin to flare into open flames. 5. Shadows rekindled. A rainy night. Seo Young lingered in front of a shabby cafe for a long time. On her phone screen, she deleted and resaved a number again and again. Until finally her trembling finger pressed the call button. It's me. For a moment, silence. Then, a low, mocking laugh slipped through the receiver. So, you finally came around? I never thought you'd be the one to call me first. Seo Young bit down on her lip. I tried so hard to forget, so why is my heart racing like this? An hour later, she stood in front of a rundown studio apartment. Rain clung to the hem of her clothes, plastering the fabric to her skin. She stood frozen at his door. When it opened, a familiar scent washed over her. The man she had once loved so desperately. The one who had ultimately abandoned her. Come in. His voice was low, rough. Seo Young hesitated, then stepped inside. The space was small, dimly lit. Outside, the sound of rain filled the silence between them. She forced herself to speak calmly. Why did you leave me like that, back then? The man smirked, shrugging. You were naive. To me, you were just a brief spark, nothing more. Seo Young's eyes wavered. Anger, sorrow, and an unexplainable heat, all tangled, inside her. Suddenly, his hand gripped her wrist roughly. But now your eyes look just the same as they did then. The door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed the room. Her rain-soaked coat slid to the floor. Breaths grew short, lips and tongues colliding. A cup tipped over and clattered across the floor, before rolling to a stop. Some time later, Seo Young sat by the window, watching the man's bare back as he smoked. Her body, still burning beneath the sheets, refused to cool. And her heart only grew more tangled. I'm letting myself get pulled back into him. Even with the memory of being abandoned, so raw, why can't I escape? Without turning, the man exhaled smoke and spoke carelessly. Your eyes, they're still crazy for me. Seo Young said nothing. She simply hid the tears tracing down her cheeks. End of chapter 5. Next chapter, Jung Suk's obsession grows deeper. And Seo Young's past begins to surface under the mother's relentless pursuit. Please subscribe and like. Thank you for watching.